He had all these examples of clips he wanted to show. And he was saying, I want to show clips. Well, that's how I felt today when I was putting this together. I wanted to show you all sorts of examples of Instagram posts we've used. So I'm going to start off with the most popular question I get is, how did I get this gig? How did you get the TSA Instagram gig? It was as simple as I was driving in Arlington past headquarters one day, TSA headquarters, and there was this cardboard sign taped to the window that said blogger wanted. It wasn't that easy. I started with TSA back in 2002, back when I rolled out. I was in a band prior to that, and after 9/11, I was pretty pissed off, and I wanted to do something about it. And TSA was like a way that I felt that I could kind of give back and help out. And I was, bands don't really pay the bills if you're trying to make it. There's no benefits in rock and roll, so TSA came along at the right time. And so I got the job as a screener in 2002 with 0 aviation security experience. So what I started doing was just volunteering for everything. Anything would come up, I volunteered for details, I'd stay late. So I started rising through the ranks of a lead, a supervisor, a social media coordinator, not social media, a training coordinator, operations watch officer. I started doing it all. And based on all my experience, I volunteered for the advisor, the administrators advisory council, and we would go to DC about quarterly to advise someone how things were going in the field. And because of that, I had a lot of face time with the administrator. I was on the communications committee, and I would talk about my passion for electronic communication. And it just so happens the administrator wanted a blog. And he'd been asking public affairs for a blog for a long time, and they weren't giving him one. And he finally gave him an ultimatum. He said, if you don't give me a blog, I'm just going to go out willy-nilly and I'm going to start commenting on everyone else's blogs. And that was a nightmare for public affairs. So next thing you know, he had a blog. And because I had this face time, he knew I had a passion for it, he knew I had a sense of humor, and he wanted the human tone for TSA social media. So I was the person he thought of. I meant to get that screen over. That's my contact info for later if you want to get hold of me. So that's how I got follower count just keeps going up and up. So I was giving a presentation like this one day, and right before my presentation started, I looked at my email and it said that we had made the Rolling Stone Top 100 list of the best accounts to follow. And you can imagine throughout the rest of the presentation, my head was swimming. I was like, what? How do we rank and why and what are they thinking? And I was also thinking, I was in a band for 7 years and I would have died to be a noise. If you notice in the blog, I usually post significant items, not like small pocket knives and larger scissors and things of that nature. The things that I post are items that have generated incident reports. There might be small pocket knife, but it might be a small pocket knife that someone tried to conceal in a battery compartment, or they tried to duct tape it to the bottom of the handle mechanism of their bag. But it's usually things that try to sneak through, or things that are dangerous, like guns and the larger knives and grenades. Isn't it hard to believe that people have actually packed live grenades? It is. I just can't get past that one. But they take pictures of these items, and they attach it to an incident report. And weekly, I have access to a list of all these incidents that have happened across the nation, and I can cherry pick from that content and talk about a gold mine of content. You just have so much you can choose from, and it's almost, doing this job. One of the best parts is seeing people's reactions. I mean, if you've been on our Instagram page, the comments that people leave are priceless. Sometimes the comments are more entertaining than what we're posting. But I lost track of what I was saying. I just did that earlier with Jennifer. I was talking to Jennifer. I was like, what was I saying? Anyways, our content, and then all of a sudden there was this cute dog, and they said it's so weird that it works. And it does. So that's why I created this slide here. And that dog right there in the middle, that's Jergens. And I think he's from, I want to say DFW, so he's a Texan. And he's an explosive detection guy. So speaking of dogs, we've been trying to get a lot more content from our handlers out in the field on the canines because they're so popular. Well, this canine had just retired and had a retirement party for him here. So you can tell
So
he was
cute.
ready to retire. This is one of my, as I never did explain it. And like I said, you see some of these responses, sometimes the comments are more entertaining than the stuff that we post. It's never ending. We always try to post something Star Wars related. And in this case, I posted this as a travel tip, showing people that medically necessary items don't like to be removed sometimes. That if you need an item to keep you alive, we're not going to make you take it off. So this one over pretty well. And speaking of Star Wars Day, it reminded me that today is Pi Day. It's March 4th. I mean, you know that blade is razor sharp. It slices meat really thin, and so that's, if it didn't have the blade, it would have been allowed. But the blade is a definite no-no. And the funny thing about this blade is that Chris Hardwick recognized it on our Instagram account, and he put it on his show at midnight. And he was making fun of it. He's like, a blanking meat slicer? He's like, what are you going to do? Have a layover at New York to make Rubens for people? But because he discovered our Instagram account, he actually used some of our content in his show. And he said, which of the following was recently seized by TSA? So you see all three of those. And then the answer is, all the above. And it's funny, the batarangs are a very common item. We find batarangs all the time. See volunteers at the local children's hospital as Santa Claus. And that's another way to show, like I said earlier, it's another way of showing people that, that our employees aren't just nameless, evil people that are, making you put your liquids in the bins and take your shoes off. Walking Dead fans?
Woo!
So I didn't watch last night, so I heard something bad happen, so don't tell me. But this was a replica of Lucille, the famous Pat from Walking Dead. And even though the barbed wire was rubber, it wasn't real barbed wire, baseball bats were legends and they're not allowed on the plane. But this was found in Atlanta, so I don't know if it had anything to do with the filming or not. But Lucille. This was submitted to us by a fan and a passenger who said, I couldn't believe when I went through, I was able to take my pizza, so I took a picture of it. And when I posted this on Instagram, it blew people's minds. They're like, I never knew you could take pizza on the plane. And it's true, it's solid food items. You can bring to the checkpoint. It's just a good food X-ray. So, I can't fly. And this is one of our more popular posts. Well, not anymore. I see it used to be. But now, I got a picture of this bear, and the picture doesn't do it justice. This bear is actually more than 9 feet tall, and it's about this wide. And I've seen it, kids next to it that dwarfs the children. It's huge. Somebody tried to bring it through a checkpoint, and it was too big to be screened, and the airline said it was too big to go on the plane, even though the passenger had bought a ticket for it. And so it was a joint decision between TSA and the airline. Well, I like to give travel tips to give people a heads up in case they want to travel with one of these and they might not do it. Well, let me go back a little bit. The person had the option of placing it in the checked baggage. They could have had it shipped under the plane and not taken it on the plane, and they denied it. And so I posted the travel tip, and there was like this Twitter user who tweeted that we took this away from the child, and now the child's going to be heartbroken, and TSA's evil and bad, and they're going to destroy planets with their Death Star. And it didn't belong to a child. It turned out it belonged to a man who was pulling a YouTube stunt popular YouTuber, and he had told all his fans he was going to see if he could get this giant barrier, which he had doubts that would make it on the plane. I think he did it on the plane. So it kind of backfired because that tweet was picked up by a lot of the far right community on social media, and it just blew up. TSAs, people wicked for taking pictures of something. And so that's one case. Lesson learned is, be a little more descriptive. I didn't want to go into the whole story in the beginning. I just wanted to kind of get the tip, and I didn't think the tip was going to backfire like that, but it did. Here, used Ask TSA? Anybody heard of it? Oh, I see some hands. Okay. Ask TSA is a new, about a year old now. It's a team of employees that they're actual TSA employees, not contractors. They all have been in various professions within TSA. And they answer incoming questions from Twitter and Facebook Messenger from travelers. So if you're, let's say you're at home and you're packing your bag and you're like, well, I don't know if this ballot X can go, you can tweet the team, or you can even send them a picture and ask, and you'll get a timely response. And in some cases, we've had people that were actually waiting in line at the airport tweet us the last minute question. And we've been able to get back to them before they even got on the plane. And it's Ask TSA. And the reason I'm bringing this up is we also use our Instagram account to promote Ask TSA. And it's been pretty popular. Something somebody sent to the Twitter account. Wanting that they could bring the crock pot because it's their vacation, they need this stuff. And of course I said, I tried to be funny, but my puns were the worst. But this is just one example of hundreds. I mean, people send us photographs of everything. And some of the more interesting ones I take a screenshot of and I'll share on Instagram, advertising our Ask TSA account. And if you've never used it and have a travel question, I suggest that they're open 365 days a year. I think the hours are even on. What are the hours, Jennifer?
It's 9 to 7 weekdays, or weekends and holidays, and it's 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays.
So give it a try sometime. I love your approach to Instagram. It takes something that can seem overwhelming and possibly frightening, like TSA regulations, and make you all seem approachable, like a teacher you don't feel stupid asking questions to. So it's good to know that here we are, we're putting that human touch on it, and people are seeing us as someone they can talk to, and not have to, be afraid they're going to be shamed because they asked a stupid question. They might be shamed if they pack a samurai sword, but tactful.
Back to say, hey, we can't be too funny.
Right.
I currently work for a Christian organization, and one of the challenges we have is,
Yeah, I won't lie to you, it's been a struggle at times, but even when we were struggling to be able to use humor and show the human side, we were still getting the message out, so it wasn't a complete loss. The images were still entertaining, we just we weren't able to add the funny content on top of it. But it all depends on, sometimes social media itself is a hard sell, let alone how you use it. And it really depends on the person. I was just telling a story the other day, and we've had a TSA blog since 2008, and before Instagram, we were really funny on the blog, and I got to say all sorts of crazy stuff that I never thought I'd ever be able to say working for the government. Until one day, I got this clip sent to me, and it was a senator on the floor reading one of my blog posts out loud, and asking why this is being posted on the government. So some people just don't get it. They don't get it. Using that humor is going to get people to read your content, and they're going to get, they're going to follow you. And it's just been proven over and over that being human and adding humor to your content is really going to get people to stick around and stay, get people to talk about you and want to follow you.
If nobody reclaims all of this stuff, and I presume it all gets catalogued, what do you eventually do with it all? Do you have a huge fire sale or something?
Usually, if something's not illegal, like, we don't have to call law enforcement. If it's illegal, we call law enforcement. It's up to them what happens to it. But if somebody has, let's just say, a pocket knife, and it can't go, we give people options. We don't just say it's ours, go away. You have an option to take it out. There's usually mail kiosks or in some cases, post offices at airports. You can mail it to yourself. If your car's out in the parking lot, you can take it out to your car. If you have somebody waiting for you, seeing you off, you can give it to them. So we try to find every option possible so that we keep your item. And if not, then you abandon it to us. And there's different ways depending on what airport, what state you're at, but a lot of it goes into like state surpluses, and where it does end up being sold on eBay, and the money goes to the state surplus.